hi, Isaac.
My parents gave me a computer when I was 10 years. My journey started when I was a kid. Now I'm here, I'm living in New York. I never expected.
Cool. Yeah. So, hi, Isaac.
Hi Matthew, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
Awesome.
Today we are in the Hack House, which is part of the Launch House community and which is a place which various tech people sign up for and get into cohorts and live together for 4 weeks to get started on their own projects, on their ideas, or join somebody else working on a different project. So the end goal is to create new startups and succeed, right? So
Yeah.
all of us coming from various backgrounds, from different countries, and have a really different story behind us. So you are coming from Latin America,
Yeah.
and I came from Eastern Europe. I grew up there. So we all end up here. What is your story like? How did you start this journey?
Yeah, so I'm from Panama. That's a small country between Colombia and Costa Rica. And I grew up there, I've been living there my whole life. And I think that thing that shaped me, it's also, they give me so yeah, I grew up there. I
Went to school there.
Yeah, I went to school there. I didn't go to university because I dropped out. For me, the studies wasn't good. I wasn't a good student, but I wanted to do stuff by myself. I'm a self-taught. That's why I prefer my own path.
Okay, yeah, to do it in your own way, to learn your way yourself, self-taught. You're a self-taught software developer.
Yeah, 100%. I remember my parents gave me a computer when I was 10 years. So that's how I got started into. So it gave me the curiosity to learn about programming because I speak Spanish, but since kid I English, so I don't know how I find out about programming and I like it. I wanted to build stuff. I wanted to create, and that's when I was like 12, 13, I started to teaching myself programming.
How to program.
Yeah. So that's how my journey started when I was a kid.
What did you start working on? Like some random stuff?
So I remember I started with Visual Basic. That not only because I'm self-taught, but in part of my school they also teach me a little bit of programming. So I was learning Visual Basic, I was learning C, and I remember building. So I was very curious about the web. I remember that was 2012, 2013. And I started building websites with JavaScript and jQuery. I remember doing jQuery and old stuff.
Did you want to do it to earn income, or did you do it for fun?
I didn't do it for fun.
True passion.
Yeah. I don't even knew that you can make money there. I didn't know that.
You just wanted to explore.
Yeah. I think it was so fun because I used to watch a website called Awards, a fun website that so I don't know if you've seen it. It's where people choose the best website in the world.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it is.
Competition.
Yeah, it's like competition. So I used to watch websites there, and for me it was fun. So I wanted to build something that just for fun because I didn't know you can actually make money in the internet. I didn't know.
Did you make a lot of websites?
Yeah, I made a lot of websites just for fun for myself, but that get me started into.
What was your age?
I remember I was 17, 18. Yeah, 17 is.
Already out of school.
Yeah, I got out of school and I knew that, so I wanted to study probably Europe or the US. I could not do it. That's how I started teaching myself Python.
So did you want to immigrate from Panama?
Yeah.
Why?
I think because for me, I got into university and I saw the plan and everything, and so I thought it's not good enough.
It's not exciting, or?
Yeah, it was not exciting at all. Yeah, I think the program was not exciting for me. That's why I started looking for programs in Europe but the first program that I saw, I had a friend that lived in Paris, so I wanted to study. That's why I remember I wanted to study. I remember I told my mom I wanted to study in France. So I started learning French, and because I was so excited. But I remember that the school there, it's only French. They only teach. It's not English because I knew English.
French.
Yeah. So I knew that I had to learn at least 1 year to 2 years French.
Yes.
to actually understand the language.
Just to understand, so you grew up in Panama,
Yeah.
but you had some ambition, you wanted to learn more and
Yeah.
about programming. Did you want to earn a lot of money, or what was your?
I remember back in the days, I don't ever think if I'm gonna make money. I think I wanted to build cool products. I wanted to build cool stuff.
And you saw that there are more opportunities globally in other countries.
Yeah.
Where it's more like advanced than in Panama. So you wanted to immigrate. And you had this friend. How did you know him?
So I remember I was seeing this. It was an internet friend because I didn't knew her in real life, never. So I saw a website that I told you before, awards.
Yeah.
So I saw a website. I think she has built
Okay.
this website.
So she's a software developer.
Yeah, she was a designer and software developer based in France. So I don't know how I find out about her email, and I text him. I wrote an email. How did you did this animation? I remember. How did she do it? I wanted to figure out how because it was a very complex thing. So she told me, and then we started talking, and then she told me I live in France in this school and
Was
stuff.
she older than you?
She was older. She was like 20, 24, 25.
Like 5 years old.
Yeah.
You found this girl who was
Yeah.
like 5 years ahead of you in life.
Yeah.
And she got inspired. She inspired you. Served as a role model.
Yeah.
And because you had this direct connection, even over the internet,
Yeah.
it's became more transparent what you should pursue in your life, what you want.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
it's a very similar story. I had these interviews with other cohort members,
Yeah.
and in my personal story, I have my brother who's 10 years older than me, and
Yeah.
he's a role model for me. So when we had the conversation, when I was 17 or 16,
Yeah.
I also got interested in exploring the world and building my own projects and pursuing a career path, so becoming successful in my path.
Yeah,
But
100%.
before that, I didn't know what the options are. So I lived in a small neighborhood, in a poor neighborhood, I would say. I didn't have anything like exciting around me.
Yeah, same. For example, I grew up in a poor home. I remember seeing my mom, and we didn't have any money, and she was hustling. I mean, I remember when I was like 12, 11, she left her job to start a business. That's her first business. So I remember I didn't see my mom only at night. I remember, and she was like awesome. And like we live in a very small apartment in Panama because I have 3 more siblings. So we were all living there, and that was not the best apartment. And so I saw my mom struggling. She's also an entrepreneur. She wanted to give us a better lifestyle. So that's why I think that also seeing that I wanted to hustle. I was working, I don't remember how many, because it was fun. So that thing, I didn't feel like work. I was working the whole day. Yeah.
So when you got to know this girl,
Yeah.
you wanted to go abroad and work abroad and study abroad. And
I wanted to do that, but for some reason, I don't know if it was money reasons, I could not do it. I could not travel. That was my dream, to study abroad, get a career, and study with the best people and learn the latest technology and everything. That was my goal. So I could not do it for money reasons, or I don't remember, I could not travel. So I stayed in Panama.
You couldn't afford
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I could not do it. So I stayed in Panama. All my dream was, I feel destroyed because I could not do it. So I was like, man, I cannot give up. I need to force myself to make it because I need to persist. Something in my head was, oh my God, there's a world there, and I'm living like a small country. After that, I started reading so many books. So I started, because out in school I didn't read any books because that didn't interest me.
There was no reason for it.
Yeah.
It seemed a waste of time because you didn't have a vision. But now you were inspired.
Yeah.
And you wanted to go into the world and be successful.
Yeah, 100%. So after she inspired me, I found another mentor. That was actually, I think, he was one of my mentors. I remember he was a designer, and he was a designer that worked for Spotify. His name is Tobias Van Schneider. He's a designer, and he was from Austria, and he was also a dropout. But he was very successful because I remember signing up for his newsletter, and he was writing his story. So it was very similar to me. I was a dropout. I wanted to do something big in my life, and he was working for Spotify here in New York. He was 30, I was 18. So he had a website where he put books and stuff. That he reads, and I have never read, and that book was in English, because that's when I started reading. That's when I started reading about, because I didn't.
Do you know English?
Yeah, I barely knew. I remember when I was 18 reading these books. It was super hard for me. Super hard, like because English in my school wasn't good.
Same for me. Same for me.
Yeah, it was
I only started learning English when I had this conversation with my brother, and when I was 16 or 15, 16, and then I started to learn English. So it was hard.
It was super hard because I didn't have good English, so I knew that the way was to the hard way, and it was fun because I was reading those interesting books. And even though that I didn't understand it fully, but I knew that my brain would start learning. That's how now I can speak English, because I have never lived in a English speaking. I never lived in an English speaking country. I've traveled abroad, but only 1 week, 2 weeks. That's not how you learn a language. So I think by starting reading, that's how I think my brain started to understand the English.
Cool. So you signed up with the newsletter of this guy. So he had this kind of dream job, working in Spotify, living in New York, having a really good lifestyle. And so you wanted to follow his path, right?
Yeah, because it was very similar of what I wanted. I wanted to have a digital nomad lifestyle. So I didn't know. I remember that I didn't knew that what was a digital nomad thing. I didn't know that. So he's working and he's traveling around, and that also inspired me. And that year, I remember, that was 2015, and I said to my mom, so I'm not gonna make it. So for some reason, I inspired also the boss of my dad, and I told him I wanted to go to his conference in Belgium. And that year I fly from Panama to Belgium only to see him in real life.
So you dropped out of university to go on this conference?
Yeah, because I knew that if I go there, that would inspire me.
Was it like an IT company, or what was it about?
This conference was about designers, was about the future of technology at the time. He was a speaker there. I knew that if I would go there, I would learn so much for the rest of my life. So I went there. So was I was there, I started also, because I was going to Europe for I think 2 weeks. So I started exploring different countries. I went to Paris.
Did you start earning money at that time?
No. So that's why I had help from other people that pay me this trip.
From your parents?
My parents, but also other people helped me. So
just your older friends? Who wanted to help you out?
No, also friends of my parents from work. So they helped me, and I could travel, and that's why I didn't meet him in real life, but I saw him
at the conference.
I remember I was inspired. I mean, everyone there was sold. Most people are in their 30s. I feel like I was the youngest. I was at the time. So I was, oh my God, I'm learning so much. I feel so ahead of the times, because in Panama or Latin America, it's back.
Suddenly at this conference you realize how big is the world, how advanced it is, right?
Yeah.
Cool. And
so
what did you next?
After that, I came back to Panama, and I started doing what I'll tell you. I started reaching out to people. For example, I got a mentor from Google. I think he worked at Google, and he was a designer, and he also taught me about this method called design sprint, and also I discovered Y Combinator, and I started
startups in general.
I was very passionate about startups. So one of my first projects was a fitness app, because I was very into calisthenics. So for me, it was very painful that I didn't have a workout app, so I can see which workout or which exercise I want to do. So I built my own app. I built it. It was my first project actually. It went live. I actually built it. And I had users. I remember I had users in China, I had users in Europe, and it was my first project that I launched live. I turned this idea that I had into real life.
Just to summarize, you had this inspiration after the conference. You understood that in order to get ahead, you needed some more role models, and with whom you can have a direct connection. So you started reaching out to random strangers who you thought is going to be a good role model for you. And they responded to you. Right? You found this guy in Spotify, you found this guy in Google.
I started reaching out to everyone that I knew that they can teach me, and they also wanted to help. So I started learning different stuff.
So they were your mentors, your coaches. So they gave you inspiration, they gave you advice, and they explained you how the world works. So the guy from Google told you about YC, Y Combinator, and about startups. And because you already knew how to write code, and you were passionate about calisthenics, you realized you wanted to build an app for yourself to do it better, right? And was it about how you make better exercises, or what was that about?
It was about, because calisthenics, you have body weight exercise, but the thing that I wanted something that, for example, tell me, so you can work on upper body, or you're doing this. So it was
to have a program.
To have a program. So I started creating different programs for myself. I can create. So
instead of doing this in a note, in a textbook, you can do it in the app because it's much more dynamic, interactive.
I can trace it. Also, for example, I can. So I knew that if I have this app, I knew that my past workout, I work on this and this.
To track my progress.
How many reps, to track my progress, to track which muscle I have worked on. So I wanted to build this app to track my own thing that I've been doing manually. So I started.
You wanted to get more advanced because you know how to do it. The technology is available, and you know how to do it. And you have time and you have inspiration. So why not to do it? And so you did it.
I did it. It was
worked not only for you but for other people, right?
100%. And also because I also wanted to see how it helps people. I started even showing the app to other people that train with me, and I didn't know at parks, for example. I went to a park, I remember, and I was doing customer interview and asking them, try this app, it's very cool because it can help you with this, with that, and they're starting also download it, and also I was also getting feedback about why they think it was good and what do they think. So I was doing this stuff that was passionate for me, but I was doing these customer interviews, I was learning about the user.
So it wasn't your plan to build a startup to earn money.
No.
It was vice versa. You just started doing something for yourself, which you were passionate about. You wanted to do it more effectively yourself. And when you did this app for yourself, it helped you, so you started helping others basically. Right? And when you helped others, you started to talk about your app, so you got some feedback, you started to change it. How many users did you get?
I remember I had, I don't know, probably 200 users, and I saw the analytics. I didn't know anything about that. That's why that startup teach me a lot of everything, because I built the backend, I built the app, I put analytics and stuff. So I remember I had 200 users globally.
Cool.
I had 200 users, and
I was purely organic.
Pure organic, 100%. I didn't know anything about marketing and stuff, and there were not many apps calisthenics, so I was very niche stuff. So I also reached out to a group. I remember it's called Bar Brothers, that's the biggest YouTube channel of calisthenics, and I reached out to them and told them, you're gonna put your workouts here, and
you wanted to be a part of their community. And your way to get there was to help them with because you already knew your app is working. 200 people are using it, and this is a bigger community that is specializing on calisthenics, so it might be helpful for them as well.
Because they had, I think, 1 million followers, something like that. 1 million. They were
just for calisthenics.
Just for calisthenics. They are like the biggest. They were my inspiration to start into calisthenics. Actually, they were my mentor calisthenics. So I remember I reached out to them, and for some reason we could not close some deal. I could not get them into the app. They were based in the US. They're from Russia. I remember they were from Russia, because I don't know why in Eastern Europe they do so many calisthenics. That must be that I saw.
They don't have gym.
But they were so in good shape that I remember that I didn't have to pay stuff. I didn't have a gym in Panama, so I was doing in my nearest park. That's why I love that. I love that doing calisthenics. So I remember I reached out, and for some reason I could not close them.
Do you want to make it for money, or it was just a free partnership, or
No, it was like I wanted to reach out to more people.
just for them to sign up, free of charge? Okay. You just wanted to.
Yeah, at first I don't even knew like I could charge them money on premium. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought I just wanted to onboard more people. I just wanted to that more people use the app, and yeah, I could not do it.
Okay,
Whatever.
okay.
And but I started talking with more people, started iterating the product, and I onboard another friends to help me with the marketing stuff. And we built a website and started also testing different ads and stuff. But I think I did that for 2 years, and I remember I haven't made any money.
Yeah.
And also I didn't know that I can turn it into a subscription. I didn't know anything. So for me, I remember my mom telling me, so you need to make money. You are not going to university, so you need to make money. And I remember I could not turn that into a business.
Yes.
So I had to shut it down because it was not gonna be profitable. Yeah, I shut down, but I think for me, I learned so much at the time that for me it was a success, even though it was like kind of failure, but it was a success for me because I learned so much.
Great story, great story.
Yeah.
But if you could go back in time, what would have made it a business? Like, what should have you done differently?
I think trying to figure out what people would pay for it. I didn't know. I wasn't
How to
looking
monetize it.
Yeah, how to monetize it. Yeah,
Make it sustainable.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't know because I'm a builder.
You didn't know what the options are.
Yeah.
You didn't know about a startup world.
No,
You
nothing.
didn't know that you could make a subscription model.
Yeah, I
you could put it
didn't-
on like Apple Store, Google Store.
I didn't know anything. There also. I remember that 2016. There weren't many startups in Panama. There were one or two, very few. I didn't know role models there. I didn't know about subscription, how to make money with the apps and stuff. So there was for me no option, but I could turn that into a business by doing a subscription, trying to figure out the most painful stuff. Because I had that very nice to have stuff for myself. But I think that if I would ask a question about what our actual pain points, what people are actually paying and are not paying, because also I'm doing this calisthenic stuff and most people are doing that for free. They're not paying anything. So if I wanted to charge something, it needs to be very good so they can actually pay something. Because it's not for people that has many resources.
Yeah, I see this. Because they cannot afford a gym.
Yeah.
This is in the first place why they chose to do it, because they couldn't really afford gym. So
yeah. But I think, for me, at the time, I learned
But they
so
were
much.
using the app.
Yeah,
it
they were
was
using it.
valuable. So they could pay something for it.
Yeah.
Even if they paid $1 and you
Yeah.
had 2,000 users, it's $2,000 a month.
Yeah, that would be actually great. But for some reason, I could not turn that into a business. And after that, I started working on other startups.
So you started applying for a job?
Yeah, I started applying for jobs. Yeah, because I had experience. It was my first real work experience. So I remember applying for jobs and nobody answered me. I didn't have a degree, I didn't have anything.
So they were looking for credentials, academic credentials, or your previous employment.
Yeah,
But
I didn't.
you are an entrepreneur doing free. They didn't see any value in that.
Yeah, but I remember that was the first company that I worked for, and I showed my boss, this person that's interviewing me, that I have built this app. So now they saw that I have built something.
Yeah, you could do it yourself.
Yeah, I could do it. So I showed them the code to their engineers. So they saw the code and they told me that they hired me. They said
On the spot.
yeah, not on the spot, but it was like the first interview. I think the first interview, and they told me come here. It was 2017. It was one of the first startups that were doing delivery and stuff. The kind of Uber Eats, food, delivery and stuff. They were not many startups.
Did you try to apply to many companies?
I tried. Yeah, I tried to apply to many companies on LinkedIn.
But the only company that really saw your potential was a startup.
Yeah.
Because they were on a similar path. They knew the value is not your academic credentials, but the stuff you can build yourself as a software.
Yeah, 100%. They were the only people that answered me. So because they were a startup, they were like there were like 5 engineers. They had at the time they had 20,000 users. I think I don't know if probably they had 10,000 monthly active users in Panama. It was one of the first startups that was taking off about delivery and stuff. I think that was the first one of the first ones. There weren't many competitors, and they saw my talent. They saw that I could build something because I showed them that I have built something. I don't have the credential, but they didn't care about it. They wanted somebody that have built stuff. So I started in that company.
Did you work for a long time there?
No, I worked for almost 1 year.
Was it a good paying job or?
No, I wasn't paying like anything.
Internship.
Yeah, it wasn't paying, and also the company didn't succeed with the raising money. So they were so bad managing money. I didn't get paid for 3 months. Yeah, I didn't get paid for 3 months.
Bootstrapping?
No, they are venture capital. But for some weird reason, my boss, the person who was in charge of finance, didn't know how to manage money. So
it happens.
all my co-workers and me, we didn't get paid for 2 months, 3 months. So I was working here and I was very happy, man, because I was my startup, I was doing that almost. I have my friends from school that actually on board into my previous startup. So I was working. The good thing, I wasn't working by myself, working with somebody.
So you learn more.
Yeah, like I convinced my best friend from school to work on my startup. Yeah, but after the startup died, we started to separate paths because he was interested in marketing. I was interested in startup and building startups. So I joined this startup and I met and they are now my best friends. They were my co-workers, they were other programmers. I felt I was part of something big.
You found like-minded people in this place, in this startup.
Yeah, I find very smart people. I also was learning so much.
Because you're inspired even more, you see that like you are not alone on this path.
Yeah, 100%.
What time is it?
It's 10:25.
So
yeah, we have 5 minutes.
Okay. Just to summarize briefly, you worked in this startup. When did you get a good paying job?
I started making good money now after 2 years ago only, because the pandemic came and I was working for a small startup. I wasn't paying anything also. So most startup I didn't get paid anything, but that was so much because they were high paying jobs in Latam. That's not that good paying job there. But the experience there was so good. I was learning so much. The startup that I learned the most, I think, in every startup.
In every.
Yeah, I learned so much. But 2 years ago, when the pandemic came, I realized for some weird reason that you can work remotely. I didn't know that.
Before that, you were working on.
I was working on real. I had to go to office and stuff. So I find out about remote job. But at the time, I remember I wasn't prepared and.
So you could work for any company.
For any company in the world,
staying in the same place.
Yeah, I stay in the same place. That was very cool. I find out about this remote job, and I started for the first 6 months. I dedicate myself in the pandemic 2020 to improve my skills because I was good at everything, but I wasn't very great engineer. I didn't have a good CS background and didn't know about data structures. So I dedicated myself 6 months of this 1 year of the pandemic to actually learn the fundamentals and also to improve my CV, to improve my LinkedIn. So during that time, I improved all of that. And after that was almost the finish of 2020, and I started applying to jobs in the end of 2020, and I got a job on February of 2021, a remote job. That was the highest paying job that I had ever had in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
How much was it?
It was like $1,000
per month.
Yeah, per month. And that was a remote job. And I was like so excited because I have never had a high paying job and I could not move around the world.
Yeah. Just to summarize, you understood that in order to get this job, you needed to build your LinkedIn profile and you needed to show your skills there.
Yeah.
And you understood that you reviewed what you knew already. You had a lot of practical knowledge, but you didn't know you had some gaps, missing some fundamental knowledge.
100%.
So you just build this plan that in order to get this job, I need to close these gaps
100%.
and build a LinkedIn profile. That's all you needed.
Yeah, that's all I needed.
So then you started applying and you got this job.
Yeah, I got
Did you
this
work
job.
There for a long time?
I worked there for 1 year and 3 months. That was my last job actually. That was my last job and I learned also so much. It was a startup based in Mexico, and also that was my first company that I worked overseas because they were based in Mexico. I was based in Panama at the time, and I was living with my parents. After I got my job, after 2-3 months I started moving.
Yeah,
So
you
I
couldn't
moved
afford
out. Yeah, I couldn't afford it. I moved out of my home, and I told my mom, I'm leaving. I'm not gonna live with you anymore. I'm moving to my own place. But I moved to another country. My first country that I went, it was Colombia, and they were closing because of the COVID, and they were quarantine stuff. So I stayed there for 1 month, and then I'm not gonna be in quarantine. So I moved to Mexico. But that was the first thing that I wanted to do. I got my remote job, I can travel, so I move as fast as I can. I got my job in February, on April. I already moved to Colombia. So yeah, I learned, yeah.
How did you find your last job? The current job?
My current job.
Yeah.
So I started because I was very interested in fintech companies, banks more especially. Never worked for neobank. So I was very.
Now you're working for now.
Yeah, I'm working for a neobank. Yeah, based in Mexico City.
And you are building a marketplace.
I'm currently building an investment app.
Investment app.
Yeah,
so blockchain. Right?
It's an easier way to onboard users that doesn't know about investment. So they want to get started investing in stocks, in crypto. So I'm building this app that will allow them to invest in Apple, and also they can buy crypto and Bitcoin and whatever. And yeah, it's an easier way to onboard users in Mexico.
And is it a high-paying job?
It's a good paying. I think that high-paying job in Latam. Yeah, that's high-paying.
Did you double your income?
Yeah, I doubled my last job, and that was also a good offer. Like, I learned also so much because at the time I didn't know about negotiating. So I negotiated with them, and I told them I want this. If I'm gonna change job, I wanna get to this goal. So they were fighting for me, and they told me we had a good offer, and I was like so excited because that was my dream. It was my dream big job because I wanted to work to a neobank.
Yeah.
And they told me in their plans that they were gonna build an investment now. So I was very interested in that.
This is what you really like.
That's what I wanted to work on this company, and I got the offer. They weren't at the time. They weren't building the investment app. I just joined this team only 2-3 months ago.
So it's the really good job that you were looking for in the right space, high paying, and it's a remote job, so you can still travel around the world wherever you can still work there. Right?
Yeah, 100%. That's why I feel I'm working on I don't want to leave my job. I don't want to leave my job. I'm loving it, what I'm doing there. I'm so grateful because I got that opportunity. I never expected, never. I remember like being 18, like I could not imagine where I'm right now. I never imagined being in New York, living.
Yeah, so right now we live in New York in this Colombia. So basically, you started when you were 17. You started with these role models. The guy who worked in Spotify, living in New York, and in 6 years, you've done this path. Right. You're exactly where you wanted to be.
Yeah, 100%. Now I'm in his city now. He lives here. And now I'm here, I'm living in New York, and I'm working, I'm right now with I feel smartest people I've ever met in real life. I don't have friends in Panama or Colombia. This is for me, everyone's so driven, everyone wants to achieve big stuff, build startups, so that's also my dream. I wanted to meet these kind of people. I never had that opportunity there. Because it's not like San Francisco, you met smart people everywhere, but in Panama, that's not the case. So here, I'm now living in New York with the smartest people I've ever met. I'm so excited, man. I'm so grateful because I never expected that. By the start of the year, I never expected to be living here now.
Cool. Yeah, great story.
Yeah.
Thank you, Isaac, for sharing this personal story. It's really
thank you, Mike, too, for the interview.
Yeah, dear subscribers, if you have some questions, please write them down below. We would be really happy to answer them. Hit the like button and subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.
Cool.
Cool.